On today's show, we discuss mathematical equations of quantum neutrino fields. What is it? That's not right. Nope. It looks like we're still talking about more Monster Hunter. So don't forget your hot drinks as we ready up for this episode of the Palibros. What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 12 of the Palibros, a podcast where a group of friends get together to talk about anything and everything Monster Hunter. Of course, I'm one of your hosts, and the first to cart, Patrick Jovez. Alongside me, we have so tasty Ryan.
Tasty.
We have the Mixette Maniac Brian.
How goes it, y'all?
And the Hunting Horn Elitist Max. How's it going, fellas?
Oh, wait.
What is he really doing that?
You can't stop.
It must have been a technical issue with my mic. I think it's back to normal.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. How's everyone doing? I know we had like a bit of a week off. You know, we finished the season finale. Let everyone cool off from that amazing upset that Ryan pulled off. But
yeah, baby. Who would have known barrel bombs would have been my highest point of IQ?
Who would have known barrel bombs would have just completely taken everything out of the trivia part of the game?
Pretty much. No kidding.
I'm gonna take it. You know, I'm just gonna gracefully accept that I'm super smart at Monster Hunter trivia.
The barrel bomb king.
Yeah.
Accept your title. Yeah.
Yeah, Max is like...
No, trivia king, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Max is like, no!
You didn't answer one fucking question!
You can't claim it. You can't claim it.
Monster Hunter trivia, whack. Me, I'm tired as fuck. But yeah, we're gonna be making some changes to that. But you'll find out more about that later in this episode. Really quick, guys, before we get into today's show, just want to let you know I have good news and I have bad news. The bad news is I've retired the Monster Hunter Palibros pillow. Sorry.
After like one day? What?
Dude, I use it for like, what the fuck? What is that?
is our guest this week. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, dude, the pillow is killing my back. Like,
It doesn't help.
I don't know what I tried doing every single thing to try to make it work, but I wasn't having back problems before I was using it for like 2 weeks straight, and then after that I was just like, god damn, it feels like I was getting like stabbed in the back.
Oh,
I wonder if it's an issue with the pillow or if it's just like a use case thing. Like if your chair already has good lumbar support built in, then it's just not useful.
So initially I had it where I had like that faux mini Falcon Punch thing kind of just resting up against my back.
Yep.
And then so I was like doubling up on the lumbar support, so I guess I was at like a fucking acute angle or some shit for my lower back, which is not good. So then I ended up turning that all the way down, so it's just like a regular chair, and then I put the lumbar support there and it still just did the same exact thing. I was like, I don't think I can use this. And I tried like several different like angles of like reclining to, and it was just like not a thing. But I'm still glad about the pillow. It still looks super cool. It's very decorative, so I'm not mad at the purchase, but you know, I'm still looking forward to
Just
one of
mad at
those
the
chairs.
outcome.
Yeah, now I just like kind of hold it. It's like I'm holding like...
You should just put it up. You should put it up like in the corner of the frame as a little like Monster Hunter prop.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to do that, but I'll figure it out.
Hang it by a fish wire right next to your face so it occasionally bumps into you.
Or I could just put like the pillowcase like over my head during the entire show.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll be the punishment of who loses the trivia next time.
But yeah,
Which I get to pick the lower third, by the way.
oh, you do.
Yeah.
So who's it gonna be?
Well, wait. Did we determine if it's I get both or just the lowest scorer?
I don't know. We'll figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll figure that out when it comes
that.
to the actual Monster Hunter trivia part of this show.
All right. Well, I'll reveal my choice when we go to our new trivia section.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Other than that, you guys play any more Monster Hunter lately?
Yeah, played a little bit. Trying to get into making some of the different weapon sets for heavy bowgun. So I know I was
it's that time now.
It's that time again. I was inspired by Max running some pretty good damage on some of the free challenge quest stuff that we might talk about today. And I would like to make something similar and just start getting into gunning again.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to join you guys on that one. I think I was late on the train for Monster Hunter Rise when you guys were doing the light bowgun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely gonna look forward to joining you there. I actually started playing a bit more barrel bombing after quite the display that Ryan left us. Also, it was like, you get free rewards and stuff like that. You get pendants and shit. So it was like, and I also just hated the fact that I would never got an A ever since it came out, like about a month ago.
I have not got an A. Did you get an A?
I have 2 A's now.
What?
Yeah, you have to get over 500 points in total.
That's what I thought the threshold was. It's
yeah,
good to know.
it's tough, man. I'm glad they gave you
agree.
They gave you like 10 per beginning of the week so that you could try and get it, and they change like daily, I think, the formations and stuff. But it's fun. This week was pretty evenly spread out. There was like, it's pretty flat, but there were like different like rocks like in the middle. So then at one point like one of my barrels caught the rock and just like straight up got sent, and it like as soon as it landed, it didn't even touch anything else. It like straight up blew up in the middle of nothing. So like one of my scores was like 4.
Oh no.
Yeah, but it's fun.
I don't know if you can confirm, Pat, but it's my understanding that like, is there like a pendant or something you can get out of it, getting an A rank? Because like, I don't see myself ever going out of my way to do it, unless maybe at some point I just want to grab the pendant and then call it quits. Yeah,
so I believe you could get 2 pendants from it. One is just like participating in it at any point, and which I believe we all have. It's like a smaller, like one of the smallest like 2-point barrel, not barrels, but palico type model things. And then the for getting an A rank, you get the giant one at the end that you could hang on your armor or weapons. And yeah, that's for getting the A rank.
Nice.
Yeah. It was a fun little thing to do. But yeah, like we felt a little bit of the fatigue, so I'm like, all right, let's kind of like try everything with Monster Hunter, me switching weapons and then trying this out, trying to get the pendants. And then now I started looking up, I was like, okay, maybe it's time to start crown farming. But we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, but before we get into the show, let's go ahead and take a look at this week's event quest schedule for May 13th through the 20th. You get 2 event quests: Ballet in the Rain, which is a 5-star quest, must be HR 21 or higher, in which you hunt the Tempered Lalabrina to obtain some glowing orb sword decorations. And the second event quest is Sand Scarred Soul, which is 5 stars, must be HR 9 or higher to participate, where you hunt the Doshiguma to obtain glowing orb armor decorations. And last but not least, the free challenge quest, which is all the rage that everyone's talking about, called The Shining Storm Rages. It is an 8-star quest, must be HR 50 or higher to participate, in which you slay the Arch Tempered Rey Dau in a race against the clock to earn an exclusive pendant. And note that the pendants will be distributed at a later date. You have to collect all the times and stuff for that. So yeah, you guys have until the 20th to complete those quests, so get that in while you can before the events are all gone and cycled out. just a little bit of housekeeping for you. I want to give a shout out to my wife and sister-in-law's show, the Lucky Girls Podcast. It's a show where they ask their audience questions about certain topics and with their combined life experiences, navigate their answers in a fun and hilarious way. They're upbeat, relatable, easy to listen to, and they're not too bad to look at either. You're guaranteed some laughs in every episode, and I personally enjoy the show because I get to experience things from their perspective. So it's a nice change of pace. They're super easy to listen to. It's really fun. So go ahead, check out them at the Lucky Girls Podcast. You can catch their shows at youtube.com/luckygirlspod. You catch them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the other podcasting services. We'll go ahead and link in their channel in the description below. So consider following, and if you do, let them know that the Palibros sent you. But of course, let me remind you that this is the Palibros Podcast, where each and every episode we try to keep you up to date on the latest Monster Hunter news, play Monster Hunter trivia, and in general talk about one of our favorite franchises. So don't forget, you can get each and every episode on youtube.com/@thepalibros, Spotify, and a variety of other podcast services for your listening pleasure. And if you like what we do, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing this episode with friends, and hitting that bell icon to help support us and to know when each of the latest episodes are posted. With all that out the way, let's begin our show with the latest in Monster Hunter news. Today in Monster Hunter news, we have just one story. Capcom once again proves it's cracked the code as the Monster Hunter publisher celebrates its 8th consecutive record year. This is from VG247.com and is written by Connor McCarr. Capcom has come forward with some great news, declaring proudly that it's once again broken records for both sales and profit for its 8th consecutive year. This comes via a quarterly financial report releasing this morning. The report goes on to state that the release of Monster Hunter Wilds played a significant part in this stellar performance. It states, quote, "As a result of both satisfying the strong expectations of fans and successful measures to build awareness through various events and other activities, worldwide sales surpassed 10 million units, which contributed to the earnings," end quote. In addition, the report claims that excitement for Wilds pushed sales for prior titles in the series upward too, with games like Monster Hunter World Iceborne and Monster Hunter Rise seeing respectable bumps in sales. Overall, the report highlights that the series has sold over 100 million units wide. In terms of pure numbers and the picture they paint, the financial report explains that this quarter Capcom made 169.6 billion yen, which is 1.14 billion US and 870 million UK pounds. I don't know what they sell, like chickens over there or something, in net sales, which translates to roughly 11.3% increase from this time last year. In addition, operating income has increased by 15.2%, which isn't too shabby at all. It's hard to knock Capcom at the moment across many, if any, of its franchises. The company's determined strategy to make the most of legacy IPs its own. That was tough to read. The company's determined strategy to make the most out of legacy IPs it owns appears to be paying dividends, and has certainly helped establish the Japanese publisher as one of the big winners of the past few years. We'll have to sit back and see how long it can keep this streak going. Yay, Capcom!
They did it.
They're doing it.
Continuing to do it.
I love that it's with Monster Hunter as well.
Yeah.
Maybe they can take some of that $1 billion and make some costumes for Street Fighter finally.
I know, right? Yeah, I mean, this is great news all around. Capcom is one of my favorite developers. Grew up loving Street Fighter, still play to this day. Marvel vs. Capcom, Resident Evil, Okami, Beautiful Joe, Devil May Cry, of course, Monster Hunter. They're definitely top 3 of my favorite devs. So congratulations to Capcom on the success. Great to hear that Monster Hunter is doing so well and they're reaping in all the rewards for that. And glad to see them on the rise again, because they weren't always in the best place usually. Around the 2010 to 2017 kind of era of games, which it was pretty rough for them. But it looks like they changed the direction of the ship, and they're back on the rise, which is great. I think it's a healthy Capcom means more Monster Hunter for the industry, potentially reviving more of their IPs, like how they're doing Onimusha and Okami. Hopefully bring back some other staples like Beautiful Joe.
Crisis.
Dino Crisis.
Oh, have you guys seen the fan made remake?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to link that to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Personally, I'd like to see Beautiful Joe come back. I already got my wish with Okami. Onimusha's looks sick as fuck. You get to play as Musashi, so that's pretty dope. And then me and Max were talking before the show. The Capcom Arcade Fighting Collection 2 with Power Stone is coming back, and CVS 2, a whole bunch of other great Capcom games. So yeah, like this is it. Like this is really good news, and I'm just really glad that Capcom's like doing their thing again.
It wasn't that long ago that people. It wasn't that long ago that people were saying, Crapcom.
Oh yeah.
And then now it's Cap God.
Yeah.
almost nonstop hits. I mean, they've had a couple fumbles. Like I wouldn't say, like Resident Evil 3 remake. Like not everyone was a huge fan.
But was it that bad? Like it was no like Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
It was It was a serviceable game. I think it was a good enough game, but I just don't think it lived up to the original game.
Right.
It was like very, very different, and there was a lot of stuff that was removed. And so a lot of fans of the original game were like, it was a very short, very linear narrative experience. And like they stripped out a lot of like the branching paths and choices and areas from the original game. And so it felt like kind of a hollowed out version. But what was there was really cool and had a good presentation and like, but
another stellar visual experience with RE Engine.
Yeah.
This might be a bigger topic for another time, but we're sitting here celebrating, Monster Hunter Wild, or Monster Hunter Wilds being like this, big boon for the company. But I think a lot of our early impressions were a little bit mixed. I mean, do we feel like Wilds is in that bucket for us?
It's getting there. Still a lot of things with kind of performance and
internet,
how the content in our internet. Oh my gosh, our last session, we won't go into too much detail. We'll talk for an hour about that. But I mean, just I want to give it more time to cook. I want to give it a good year. I want to see basically up until we get to the DLC or Master Rank. I can give you a more proper opinion at that point, because the game is
sure
you need some performance for that.
Is that entirely fair though? Like that's a long grace period to get to a game. Like,
it's not. Yeah.
I mean, we discussed earlier on, like, what kind of lessons are they going to take from this wild success? Because I mean, there were a lot of issues at launch, some of which remain. And this is record sales, and so they might, say that, these all sales are all because of Nata and XYZ, and we might not agree with that, but that's,
Yeah, I mean, from what Ryan's saying, like, I don't think it may sound like, from what we remember, it seems like our initial thoughts on the game seemed a little mixed, but like I'm pretty sure I remember all of us giving the game near like 8 or 9s from our own like kind of ranking perspectives, which is definitely nothing not even close to being a bad game or
the only reason I bring it up is because as a console player, it's been pretty smooth from this start. So I don't have like as much of an asterisk next to mine. But we're sitting here celebrating them doing well, which they deserve it, in my opinion, and I think you guys would agree. But I also think that like it might be a topic in the near future that we might want to like rebroach, because now that we've had a lot of time with the game, and now that we're seeing it's not just us, it's not just the fucking Monster Hunter nerds that are celebrating this game.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit easier because I don't know if it's just like a recency bias, but the further I personally get away from the story, and how on rails it was. The further I get away from the story, and like all the content coming out now is more catered to my interest and our interests in terms of like difficulty level. And so right now it feels more like the Monster Hunter that I was looking for than it was when I was in low rank, or around the time when
I would agree with
the
that.
story where our initial impressions were.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You kind of had to talk about the story. It's because that's all we had at the beginning.
yeah, it's such a force-fed experience that you kind of had to go through it. So everyone kind of had to. I mean, like new players and veterans alike had to kind of go through it. There was like no choice. But I 100% agree with Max, and I agree with that sentiment that now is like where we are in the game, even though we may not be playing it as much. Like this is kind of the experience that I have wanted from the beginning. Like I wanted to go through my builds and find different like avenues of what I want to do with them, and go through different weapons and armor sets and stuff like that. So yeah, like just glad.
That's crazy.
Glad that Capcom's doing well. Healthy developers are good for the industry, especially one with such a huge catalog of like beloved games such as Capcom. So yeah, congratulations to them. Thank you guys. Thank you for making some of my favorite games of all time. And
also I was gonna say, and thank you for putting more emphasis and time and funding towards the PC community. I think that was a huge piece that we've seen a big change in over the last 4 or 5 years, is that they've seen the PC platform as a very lucrative and also just important population of players. And I'm glad to start to see games coming in day and date with console, with crossplay. Right. Please continue that, and I hope that other publishers continue to follow in that step and that lead.
I was gonna say it's not out of the kindness of their heart. I'll tell you that.
Right, right.
It's for money. We'll give credit when it's due.
But they could have easily just not did that, and we had to play this all over again once it came out on PC, and just leave you in the dust again, right?
Yeah, Ryan. Careful what you're saying.
I'm not wishing for anything. I'm just saying. If you do it to me again, I swear to God,
I will find you in the next Monster Hunter.
I'll petition them personally to put a Souls-like invasion mode, and I'll just come in and invade your hunts.
Oh man, that kind of sounds a little lit, to be honest.
You're like, well, actually, just take the monster's side. That would actually be really cool.
Yeah.
You should just be like, have a player spawn in as a Bullfango or something.
Oh. Or no, just bring back the.
Your job is just to be a Bullfango and then try and find the perfect moment to screw somebody over.
Spear him right in the back during the triple charge.
There was actually an event quest in Monster Hunter Frontier, I think, where it was like one person played as a Bulldrome and the four people played as hunters or something.
That's pretty cool.
I think it was more like a joke quest, but it was still the precedent is there.
We gotta hop on that at some point.
I've got it installed, ready to go.
Is it?
You're thinking of?
Sorry, Ren. Go ahead.
You're thinking of the mega successful AAA game Evolved.
Oh man,
I'm so sad that it's gone.
Yeah.
Don't pretend like you were keeping the servers alive by yourself.
I was, man. All those YouTube views I was giving some content creators. Now.
Well, that's it for Monster Hunter news. And now, fellow hunters, the time has come. And so have I. That's right, it's time to begin the first round for Season 2 of Monster Hunter Trivia.
Okay, so the punishment is... Brian.
Yes.
Stinky 1.
Stinky Uno? Okay.
Max, Stinky 2. Shall be your lower third.
He's gonna name everybody. All right.
I asked you
Stinky
at the top of the
1
show.
and Stinky 2. Got it.
I said, do I get the power to name them both? And you said, I don't know. So I'm unilaterally deciding.
Max and Brian, I'm gonna give you guys a cleanser.
Yes, we stinky boys now.
Well, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to Monster Hunter Trivia. Before we get started, there are a couple of changes that I'm going to be making to hopefully improve upon the show. First, I want to I want the three of you to go ahead and pick a monster. It for any reason, pick your favorite, pick the coolest one, whatever you want. Can't be the same monster.
Okay.
Go ahead and when you guys are ready, go ahead and give us your monster, starting with Ryan.
Tigrex.
Tigrex. Okay.
I hope I don't have to know a lot about the Tigrex.
No. Go ahead, Max.
Oh, you mean Stinky 2?
Or Stinky 2? Damn, do I have to call you that?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Malzeno.
Oh, that's a good one.
Malzeno. I don't know why it makes me think of ice cream. Brian, go for it.
Me llamo Stinky Uno.
Oh yeah,
it will be Zinogre, my boy.
Of course.
Had to.
I thought about going like Queen Vespoid or something, but
Oh yeah, call out.
All right, well, the reason I had you guys name your monsters is this will be the monster that will represent your team for the future of Monster Hunter Trivia. This way, if someone isn't able to make the show for that week and we have a guest, our guest can go ahead and fill in your spot, so you don't have to put trivia on hold for trivia on hold for that episode, and maybe hopefully they can secure a victory for your team that week. Because the whole thing, we just had to wait for everyone to get on, and I know we have busy schedules and we have our own lives and stuff like that, but really want to get back into trivia, and I feel like this way, and it gets our guests in to play as well. They don't have to be excluded from the fun, so I think it's a good change that should hopefully keep Monster Hunter Trivia afloat. But another change I'd like to implement is the actual name of Monster Hunter Trivia. Monster Hunter Trivia is very generic, but also it doesn't fully encapsulate the variety of the games that I wanted to have in the show. So now we're going to be introducing our new title moving forward, Monster Hunter Mastery. The change of the name, I feel, is a little bit more encompassing with how I think the entire kind of game works. Each game that we play has, for the most part, been based in trivia, but as seen in the finale of Season 1, I think, including other types of games where you can win points for your team's overall score is fun and kind of adds a bit of variety to this segment as well. Hence, the change in the name. But for now, now that our team has their names, we're ready to start off this season of Monster Hunter Mastery.
Woo.
Today on Monster Hunter Mastery, our three teams will be playing the brand new game, Smash or Pass. In this game, our contestants will... Huh? AO?
I said, oh no.
In this game, our contestants will be given a monster. They will then have 60 seconds to write down their answers for what parts of the monster are breakable. This includes severed parts as well. For example, if the monster I chose was the Chotacabra, the breakable parts they would write would be 4 legs. This game will last 3 rounds, and for each broken part they get correct, it will net them 25 points. But in the same vein, each missed or incorrect part that they write down is minus 25 points. This way they don't have to name every single body part and just get all the points. There's no negatives to that. Also, a 50-point bonus will be given if the contestant writes down the monster's weak point. Not their elemental weakness, but the actual physical body part that it has the weak point to it.
To blade or gun, or because it's different? Probably blade, right?
Let's go with blade.
Yeah.
Brian gets an extra 20 points for mastery for knowing that exists.
I'll give him a tip of the hat for that, actually.
Yeah, tip of the hat.
Yeah, thank you for that. I almost added it to Max, but we'll see. So Teams in Order starts off strong
Max
with a tip of the hat.
Max cannot win in trivia these days. I'm telling him you almost gave him a point.
Let's see.
So you're saying that we're writing down what their weak point is for extra points this week?
For the actual points that's how we go ahead and figure out. All these are based off of Monster Hunter Wilds field guide. So Monster Hunter Wilds, not Generations, not Ultimate, not any of these other things.
Study that real quick.
For clarification, are we counting claws separately if it's like left claw, right claw, or are we just saying claws?
That's what I was gonna get into. Let's see. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a kind of word bank key so that you guys can write down on your sheets right now. We'll go over them right now, and we'll see if we get into any gray areas. So whenever you guys are ready, I'll go ahead and give you that key. So we have the back, we have the rear, which is more like its ass. We have the belly. Here's where some bullshit starts happening. We have the tail. We have tail hair. And we have tail tip. For this one, so for those three, I want to separate them. They have to be completely separated. So if you're going to make the guess, or you don't want to guess at all to save points, then that's your prerogative. But if you're sure you want to nail it, those need to be separated. For the next part is the foreleg, and that will include claws and arms. The next part is legs, which are like their rear legs. The head, there's the neck, there's the mouth, tongue, and wings. So yeah, this is what I was doing right before the show. I was like, I know different monsters have different parts and stuff like that. Tail hair, and tail tip I was looking at very closely, and I decided it would be, because there's some things that you could break on a tail, but you can't sever it, and there's kind of a lot more going on with the tail. For forelegs, when I went through several different monsters, it pretty much is like there's like claws, but then they also call arms, like the jerkin is like arms, but that would look like forelegs on a separate monster. Like on the Chotacabra, they're called forelegs. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We'll call foreleg, claws, and arms the same thing. So that's the reason for the split. I'm sure if we get enough hate mail, we'll probably not put this back in the cycle of Monster Hunter trivia, or whatever the hell we're calling it now, mastery. But as of right now, we're gonna go ahead and try that out. Don't forget, fellow hunters, that you can find all of this information in your monster field guide in the pause menu. And contestants, are there any questions before we begin?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Good shot.
All right, Ryan, you're gonna go ahead and text me your answers as well.
Okay.
And then let me go ahead and bring up the timer here. Whoops.
I'm going to text you a picture of my answers.
Yeah.
That's going to sound weird, but it'll make sense.
No, that's fine. Okay. Once again, after 3 rounds of Smash or Pass, we'll go ahead and recap the totals for the day for this episode of Monster Hunter Mastery. Let's begin round 1 of Smash or Pass. The first monster for round 1 is going to be the Hirabami. Contestants, I will now be starting the 60-second countdown. And while they're going ahead and writing down their answers very carefully, this is where I would go ahead and put our sponsored ad.
If I had one!
But since we don't, I'm just going to wave my Palico pillow in front of the camera. Shit killed my back, but it's so cute. I still want a chair. Secret Lab, hit me up. This pillow is not the greatest,
But build it into the chair, and then
but
you got yourself
yeah, there
a
you
sail.
go. Yep. All right, we're coming up on 10 seconds. get those last answers in. 3, 2, 1. Okay, pencils down. Okay, let's go ahead and start us off, Max. What did you write down?
All right, I've only fought like 3 of these, so I said that you can break the head and. Can I?
Oh God, he's invisible.
Oh my God.
Not working.
Same with your chest.
So I said that you can break the head and sever the tail tip, and that the head is the weak point. I think.
So, let me see. You said head. You sever the tail. And
Tail
then
tip, I think it is. Like, there's something that gets severed. I don't remember. I don't know whether it's the tail tip or the tail. But I wrote down tail tip.
Okay.
I don't know what exactly is written in the field guide.
Okay. So, and then you said for the weak point?
Head. At least that's where I'm smacking as a hunting horn.
Yeah, head's always the weak point for hunting horn.
That's all. That's gonna be my every single answer from my hunting horn brain. The head is the head.
Let me show you that it's the weak point. I'll prove it to you. Okay, Brian, go ahead and give it to me.
Senor, me llamo Stinky Uno.
Stinky Uno.
Stinky Uno. All right, so I went a little crazy here. I thought because the tail was such a long thing, I went with tail and tail tip, thinking that there might be 2 zones. If that's allowed, then that's fine. Because if not, you can say, hey, it's only ever going to be one of the tail options. Then you can cross that out. But I went with head as well, and I put a star next to head because that's, to me, is what I believe the weak zone is.
Okay, so we got head, tail, and tail tip. You put head as the weak point.
Correct.
Okay. And then let's.
You said that like you were wrong.
No, just
It's concerning
checking.
because that's also my answer. Fuck.
We're all going to be -50.
Okay, and let's see.
Are there
No,
negative points?
no, there are no negative points. I'm not that evil. And for Ryan, go ahead and read us off.
Yeah, breakable parts. I put tail, head, and mouth, and then I put the weak point as head.
I like the mouth. It's a good one.
I wasn't sure whether mouth would be the weak point because I know
I mean,
it
I'm
has
not
that
positive.
move where it like
Yeah.
latches onto the ground, but you're kind of hitting its head during that time. So
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure which. I think
I guess my thought process was that it's like it's got those like pincers on its tail, but I feel like it has pincers on its mouth, and maybe I'm misremembering that.
Okay. So just give it to me one more time, Max, just to make sure.
I said the breakable parts are the head and the tail tip, and that the weak point is the head.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Brian?
So I put head as the breakable part, tail and tail tip as breakable parts as well, and I said the head was its weak point.
You said head, tail, tail tip, and then head is the weak point, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then Ryan, one more time for me.
Tail, head, mouth, and then weak point head.
Tail, head, mouth.
This is going to be hard for me because I went through all the way to the end of high rank, not cutting a single tail off without hunting horn. It's not even on my radar.
Oh, it's on mine.
Okay.
We're literally fighting the Arch Tempered Rey Dau the other day, and I'm like, I gotta get the tail cut, right, guys? And they're like, no, hit the head, you dork.
All right. Moving on to round 2. The monster that we're going to be using for round 2 is going to be the Yan Cut Ku. And now your 60-second timer will start. should put like some Monster Hunter jazz music in between these waiting times.
Especially with a 60-second window, which is, I think, a little longer than what we've done before.
Yeah. And time is up. Max, go ahead and give me your answer.
Stinky.
So I don't know if I'm like gaslighting myself here, but I have head for unbreakable parts. I'm just gonna give up on trying to show this.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I said the head is breakable, the tail is severable, and I think the wings are severable, are breakable. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going crazy here, but. And then I said the weakness is the head.
Okay. Brian.
Okay, so I tried to play it safe, and I went for what I thought was breakable was head, wings, and I swear I feel like back is something on this one. Like I have a visual of that. Maybe that was a young Garuga, but I could be wrong. So I went with those three as breakable, and I went with head as the weak point again.
Okay, sorry, give that to me one more time.
Yep. So for breakable, I said head, back, and wings,
Mm-hmm.
and then head being the weak point.
Gotcha. And Ryan, go ahead and read me off yours.
I went head and wings. That felt obvious, but I could not for the life of me remember the third one, so I fluctuated a lot and then panicked, put rear at the end. And then I said the weakness was the head. So I'm like, its tail is too small to break, I think, but maybe it isn't. I think we're all having a moment to ourselves right now. We're like, wait a second.
Gotcha. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and move on to our third and final round. The monster for round 3 of Smash or Pass. We're going to go ahead and go with the Arkveld. Contestants, you now have 60 seconds to write your answers starting now. Coming up on the 30-second mark. You guys have about 10 seconds left, so go ahead and wrap up those answers. 3, 2, 1. Pencils up. All right, Max, go ahead and give me your final answers for round 3.
All right. I'm pretty sure the wings are breakable, like the little tendril-looking things. The head's breakable. You can cut the tail, and I think the forelegs might be breakable. And then for weakness, I put head, as always.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and make an executive decision right now, not based off anything Max said, but the weak point and bonus does not count against you for...
Yeah.
Okay. I figured that would be right, or else I'd be fucked up to just take 50 points away from guess. Not that Max got anything wrong, but I was just saying. Brian, go ahead and give me yours.
Mm-hmm. So I went with head, foreleg, tail, and then leg as my breakable objects. I struggled trying to remember if the foreleg, or if it has four legs or wings or both. I think we joke how it's like it doesn't really have wings, so how does it fly? And it flies with the power of hatred.
Oh shit, I just realized that.
It doesn't really have wings, there's just chains. So or hair really.
Right.
So but I recall, I'm going to say that I think they're forelegs and not wings. Maybe I'll die on that hill. And that the foreleg is actually the weak spot. And I'm always thinking, like, you gotta, all those speedrun videos and all those attempts at fighting, you always want to go for those tendril leg, foreleg arm pieces. So that's what I'm saying is the weak spot.
So give it to me one more time.
Yeah. One with weak breakable parts as head, foreleg, tail, and legs. And I said the forelegs was the weak point.
Okay. And Ryan, go ahead and give me your answer.
My dumbass thought there was only 3, no matter what, for some reason. So I only picked
no,
3.
no.
I no. I don't know why. I don't know why I put myself in that box, but I was like, I gotta pick 3. So I unselected a couple things. But my answer,
good.
huh?
Maybe you're playing it safe, right? If the 4th one's wrong, you lose points.
Tail. Yeah, like Max said, you can cut it. Foreleg, which is the claws, because I know his, like, as you were saying, Brian, like his, like, the tip of his, like, chain wings are, like, to me, the, like, definitely breakable, and also what I put for weak point. And then head. But I felt like I also had that same thing with you, Brian, where I'm like, oh, is forelegs and wings the same? I feel like it's more of a claw than it is a wing. Is it considered a wing? So I also had that struggle, but my official answer was breakable parts, tail, foreleg, head, and then weak spot, foreleg as well. So I came to the same conclusion as you, Brian, that technically they're not wings, and I always remember that part like glowing red the most when I'm like smacking it down. So for some reason that just like stuck in my brain as this weak point.
Okay, so you got tail, foreleg, head, and then the foreleg
is the weakness.
weak point. Okay.
Curious.
Okay. Now go ahead and give me 1 second to tally all those up. Also, just gonna double check.
We're gonna
What was that?
We're gonna run the tally machine. I'll run it in the background for you.
Yeah, go ahead and run
Whenever
it
you're
for
ready.
me. It's gonna need to run a little bit longer. Okay.
Help.
Need a freaking calculator.
Is that right? Is that what it sounds like?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Let's go with that.
I did it, guys. I helped.
Interesting. So I looked it up.
I was gonna say you gotta get Pat a second. He's not even done.
Well, I'm just wondering, like, the weakness bonus, because it's not just melee or shot damage.
Mm-hmm.
It's also different between
He's not getting taken down on a technicality this time. Okay.
Go ahead, Max.
I'm just saying, because like I'm looking at the hit zone value breakdown for arc build, and I think in most cases, I think what the answer you probably have is like the chain blade. For blunt specifically, head has an equal hit zone value to the chain blade. For blade, like for sharp severing damage, the chain blade is better than the head, but not for blunt damage.
That's right. We didn't specify blunt and, blade when we said blade master. Will you give us either one, Pat? Blunt or blade?
So the way that I'm going to be doing it is the cute little picture that's in your field guide says breakable / weak point. So as long as you pick that as the weak point, I will go ahead and give it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said before, for your weak point, that's like your critical roll kind of thing. You do not have to. If you don't get it, you will not get negative points. It's just, making sure you get the right one. So after some deliberation and consummation, we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and tally up the totals for the first ever round of Monster Hunter Mastery. Hey fellow hunters, Patrick here. After extra deliberation and consummation, I ran the numbers again, and it looks like I got the totals wrong, although they were the same, I guess, amount of points away from each other. The totals were completely wrong. I went back and painstakingly did all the math again, and you can even see it right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the actual point system on the video episode. Audio listeners, you'll be able to hear it too. So as of right now, everything's gonna be fine. That game's a little bit hard to kind of generalize things that are very kind of specific when it comes to the naming of the monster parts. I think it's a little too nitpicky at times, but yeah, we'll see. We'll fine-tune some things, but thank you so much for your patience, and let's get on back to the show. In last place with a total of 125 points is Stinky number 2 for Team Malzeno, Max. In second place with a total of 175 points, we have Stinky number 1, Brian, for Team
Champion reigns.
for Team Zenogre. And in first place, we have the ever humble champion with a total of
non-stinky
200 points. The non-stinky one.
Good points.
So tasty. God damn it, we're not using this game anymore. Ryan for Team Tigrex.
Nice.
Team Tigrex sounds good. I didn't even mean it to sound so good.
Yeah. So for round 1, I went ahead and wrote down the answers. For the Hirabami, it says what is breakable is the head and the tail is severable. Or breakable, I'm not sure. Either one, if you get the head or the tail, that's plus 50 for both of those. And then the weak point is actually the mouth.
Good to know.
Yep. And round 2.
Did I get that right? Or did I put head?
For you,
No,
I
just
think you got.
said the mouth was breakable. Yeah.
Yeah, something. I don't know. I got you as 50 points for that one. With Max and Ryan both getting 25 each. For round 2, the uncut coup. According to the picture, I was kind of like, when you guys were talking out, I was like, I feel like you could get break shit like the back and everything else too. But like when you look at the picture, it says the head and the weak point is the mouth. That was
just one choice.
Yep. That I guess you can't cut the tail. I guess you can't break the wings.
Thought for sure wings was.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I would have. I thought you could fuck that thing up.
I remember the face getting messed up real hard.
Yeah.
But like you know, I contemplated putting. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it is like.
Yeah, like the Kutku webbing is like such a common item that I was thinking thinking of wing breaks.
Yeah,
that's almost certainly what it is for sure.
When that one was a clean sweep for you guys. It was zeros across the board. It's funny because it's the simplest one, right? And round 3 was the Arkveld. This is where you guys made or break the game. It was the head was breakable, the tail is severable, and then the chain blades, which I accepted as foreleg / arm / kind of wings. I added wings as well because, you know, it fucking flies. It's confusing.
Yeah.
And that broke my mind. I was like, wait, it does fly. It just has like whips. I went ahead and accepted all types of forelegs and arms for that, and the chain blades are also the weak points. That's where Ryan kind of ran away with it with 125 points. Brian came in second with 100 points, and Max came in last with 50 points for your guys' ground totals of Max.
Wasn't it 75? Was it 75 or 50?
No, so for that round you had 50. You got 50 points, and then for the grand totals again in last place for Team Malzeno is Max with 125. Second place is for Team Zenogre, Brian with 175 points, and in first is Ryan for Team Tigrex with 200 points. a little bit to work on. I think
Nice.
it wasn't too bad. We'll work on that to just kind of make it a little bit more clear. I might need your help with that in the future. But I think the game turned out pretty fun.
Yeah,
It definitely,
It's a little
jogged
annoying
the
that
brain.
it's a little annoying that the image diagram is not 100% accurate
Right.
to different weapon types and damages. Like,
Yeah,
Was it?
Right.
there's some
Over the
variables
rod
in there
stroke.
that can
Mhm.
be a little weird. So we'll hammer out behind the scenes what because I think the game is worth keeping.
I think so too. I mean, and I'm
Oh,
not
of
just
course
saying
you
this
would think
'cause I
so
won,
with
but-
200.
Yeah, all right, okay.
Yeah,
what a
this
dork.
guy.
No, I'm just saying. I think it's like hits that trivia spot perfectly, where it's like I really have to think about my experience hunting these monsters, and like really like jog my brain of like what do I remember about fighting this? Like what parts am I seeing glow red? What parts am I seeing the deterioration of the monster through the fight? And that visualization was like completely like a huge part of for me at least in the game. I'm sure sounds like all of us were doing it too. We were like kind of walking it through in our head, and I think that just makes it a great candidate for this type of segment.
I mean, I only ever hit the head, so it's kind of that's kind of like my experience is like, well, what is my go-to plan? Just
Yeah.
hit the head.
Oh man, didn't you used to be a hammer main also? Or you?
I have used hammers in the past. Yeah.
Have you seen that like GIF of just like what hammer mains see monsters as, and it's just a giant nail everywhere.
Oh
That's
my
Max
God.
with his horn right now. But
Basically, yeah.
that is a wrap on this episode of Monster Hunter Mastery. Thank you guys for being patient with the changes, and thank you guys for being my subjects for all this experimentation. Before we head into our main topic, let's go ahead and hear a word from the Hunters Guild.
Hello there, Hunters. Orson here, back with another hot tip straight from the Hunters Guild to add to your arsenal. Do you ever find yourself with an overwhelming urge to mount that fiendish monster? Have you been tossed away like that surefire winning ticket at the racetrack? Damn you, War Admiral! Well, don't fret, Hunter. Here's a simple way to ensure that you don't slide when you ride. When mounting a monster, you can move to various parts of the body. This is especially useful when that charlatan wants to get handsy. You can tell when a monster wants to butt you off when the edges of your screen start to dim. Take that as an opportunity to move to another part of the monster. Don't forget to make multiple wounds while mounting that behemoth before you use your finishing move. These can be made useful later in the hunt. Now go forth and show those monsters what for! This tip was brought to you by the Hunters Guild.
Of course, if you hear that sound, it means that we're all readied up for the topic of the show. And today's main topic has to do with our thoughts on the Arch Tempered Rey Dau. But before we get into that, I want to go ahead and bring up the follow-up news story that I pulled from the earlier section of the show. This was seemed a little bit more relevant to our main topic, but it goes as follows. Monster Hunter Wilds gets its first time-limited free challenge quest, and reactions from fans of the action RPG range from, quote, too forgiving to, quote, frustratingly hard. This article comes by way of GamesRadar.com and is written by Anna Koselki. Capcom has just introduced Monster Hunter Wilds' first ever free challenge quest, granting players the chance to score unique pendant rewards if they can manage to slay Rey Dau in a certain amount of time. The free challenge quest lets players take on the Arch-Tempered lightning-charged behemoth while sporting their own gear, hence the free portion of the name. Fans can either take Rey Dau on solo alongside their trusty Palico, or they can opt to join fellow hunters online and support characters in a party of up to 4. As for the pendant rewards, there are 3. One for a sub 50-minute kill, another for under 20, and one for 13 minutes or less, rank C, B, and A respectively. It's certainly not an easy kill to secure for many players, especially if aiming for that A rank prize in under 13 minutes. Fans are already sharing their thoughts on the challenge, taking to a Reddit thread to report on its difficulty. As an average player, I appreciate the 13 minutes, writes one such user, going on to say they eventually scored a top reward kill. It was still frustratingly hard for me, but I was eventually able to pull through with 12 minutes. Elsewhere in the comments, fans expressed their doubts about slaying the Rey Dau in under 13 minutes. My ass is not getting an A rank solo, admits one. I'm an old man, jokes another. I'm happy with my C rating. A player amusingly asks why they were even worried, as 13 minutes is very forgiving, only to later edit their response to say that they carded or died during their first try and the new free challenge quests. Note not all monsters are struggling to snag that coveted sub kill. Oh, geez. Sorry, that last paragraph had a whole bunch of quotes ins and outs, so I was just kind of wrapping my head around that. Not all hunters struggling to snag that coveted sub 13-minute kill, though. I thought they would make it tighter, LMAO, boasts one fan. This one is too easy. Another agrees, thinking that Capcom should have made the required time even lower. Quote, too forgiving. A should be like sub 8 or 10. Regardless of its difficulty, however, the free challenge quest won't stick around forever. Players only have until May 20th to take down the Rey Dau. There's plenty more to come after that, as per the Monster Hunter Wilds roadmap, so there's not too much of a rush to clock that A rank kill. I know I personally need all the time I can get. Whew. Adding a whole bunch of people talking and quotes and stuff like that was rough as hell to read, so I think I deserve an A rank for that.
There you go.
But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts hearing all the discourse in the Monster Hunter community about the Arch Tempered Rey Dau?
You can't win. Someone's gonna be happy, someone's gonna be unhappy. It's just, there's no way to win. It's rough, man. I mean, I think for us, coming in with some, more time with the game and more skill, I would argue that I think if the 10-minute time was the A rank requirement, I feel like all of us here wouldn't even blink. We'd be like, yeah, that seems fair. But with this game bringing in more and more new players, yeah, that would be rough, especially if the reward's really, really cool. So honestly, I'll do some sort of like S rank option, where it's like under
5 minutes,
7 minutes or 5 or something, like the real speed run. Like that could be cool. I don't know if they would have to lock something behind that to make it worth it, but I just feel like it's hard. It's hard to satisfy every person.
Yeah,
I'm of the opinion that 13 minutes is pretty generous, like, especially considering the fact that I think what might get a lot of people is that because it's a free challenge quest, like, just doing well in the fight is not everything. Unlike the Doshiguma quest, where it's sort of a prefixed build, like, just as much going into this comes from like what your build is, how you're preparing for, like, what kind of food buffs did you eat? Did you bring demon drugs? Like, are you bringing combines for like flash bombs or pitfall traps? Like, there's a certain level of strategizing that has to happen outside of the hunt, in terms of like build optimization and bringing items that you can make a pretty big difference. And so, like, I personally feel like this is more forgiving. It took me way less tries to get this than it did the Doshiguma hunt, where it was a much tighter window and you have a lot less to work with, I felt like.
I completely agree, and I think it's also worth mentioning too that, like, our collective Arch Tempered Rey Dau time was pretty good the first time we did it. We, like, very, very easily cleared that mark. So, as you were saying earlier, it's like we are now the target audience for this stuff. So, it's I felt on I'll just say it, our first clear was what, 909 as a group, and then due to technical issues we couldn't get a full hunt to get again together, but I felt like we could have easily hit like probably 8 minutes, maybe even like 7.5. And I feel like we could have, if we really grinded it down like as a group, or even cheesed it with a heavy bowgun, we could probably get way less than that. So
for sure.
I think the fact that we super easily, I mean, we were locked in though. We all were like hyper hyper communicating, like making sure that we're doing all of the environmental damage, like all the traps. Max was like flash potting, Rey Dau as he left, and like had good aggro knowledge about like, okay, don't go chase him, he's coming back. So all of that is not, beginner stuff. So, I think that this is the type of challenge that really gets people who have played a lot to like flex their knowledge and flex their strategizing and flex their gameplay. So it's super fun to hunt. I mean, I remember the first time I fought the Arch Tempered Rey Dau when it first dropped. I soloed it in like 28 minutes or something, and I was really happy with that. For my first time ever. And now we're just like beating up on it. It's the right amount of difficult though. I don't think it's like a baby fight. It still will mess you up. Like we were carting multiple times, and that basically didn't happen at all.
Yeah.
In high rank even. We were barely dying. Even in the end game stuff.
I think you highlighted a really good point, Ryan, in that we're coming into this with the ability to have a full team where we're communicating, where we're working together. And of course, there's going to be a huge subset of players that play solo or are forced to try to go online and do that. And not having that communication, either being forced to go solo and then have the support hunters help, which I know Max, you and I were talking about that last night. It sometimes don't make up anywhere near as much weight as or carry as much weight as an actual player would.
I think that's pretty much pretty much the in case in all the time.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Do they, if they cart, that doesn't go against your run, does it? Okay.
No.
Can they cart?
I don't
They can.
Oh,
they can.
I think like they can cart, but like they just come right back. But either way, it's
and in
like,
greater numbers.
I was surprised how competent the support hunters are in terms of like using items and getting
Yeah.
KOs and mounts and like sort of contributing. But it's just in terms of damage wise, it seems like it's pretty much always a time loss. Even if it ends up feeling like a much more comfortable hunt.
Yeah.
Some of the big speed runs I've seen, I was going to say, is that like it's just one player and then their support Palico.
Yeah.
They don't even bring the support hunters.
Yeah. And you could turn off the hunters when you're signing up for the quest?
In the settings on the quest menu.
In the settings on the quest menu, okay.
But it does apply to all quests, if I recall correctly. Yeah.
So even like story mode and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think just for anything you sign your book with Alma. So yeah, if you're going through the story, I believe it would shut that off.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta check into that. I gotta read more. Because I was doing this one solo. First, I want to touch upon what kind of what Brian was talking about. And wow, that totally just left my mind. So let's go ahead and talk about what Ryan was talking about. Where, when the Arch Tempered Rey Dau first came on like a couple weeks ago, I think we all kind of didn't tackle it together for the first time. I think we kind of soloed it, or at least I soloed it. As well. The first event quest, the Silent Flash with Arch Tempered Rey Dau, that is when I just started Insect Glaive, so my time of my first completion for it was 30 minutes and 34 seconds. It took me 2 attempts to do that one, and I carded a total of 4 times. And then I did it in 1 attempt with a Charger Blade in 25 minutes and 17 seconds. I carded twice for that one. Moving on to the
Man, I'm a conservative hunter. My first ever Rey Dau fight was 30 minutes or just under 30 minutes as a long greatsword, but I didn't cart, so I'm just like killing time by like not doing it. I'm just watching him, observing, I guess.
Oh,
it's interesting
no.
to hear you talk about your times.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not dying, I'm not trying. So, we did the free event quest, or I did it for the Arch Tempered Rey Dau, and I put a C. Oh, I guess I got a C time with 23.29 seconds with the Insect Glaive. So yeah, and these were all like first tries. I didn't go back and do it. I just wanted to have the pleasure of like hunting it by myself to see if I could do it with the Insect Glaive at that point. But I have, just like everyone else, until the 20th to try and shave those times down, which I think we're all trying to look further into doing. Like Ryan said, we as the first hunt together as for the Arch Tempered Rey Dau, trying to do this free event quest, we hit a pretty easy 909. Got that A rank right off the bat. It didn't feel too different from anything we've fought before. after kind of getting it down.
It's worth mentioning I didn't get close to the Dashugama A rank like Max said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we got to use our own builds and stuff like that. I mean, I think a couple of you guys did the elemental weakness. Did anyone run ice, or were we just running our own like?
I was running paralysis greatsword.
Yeah.
Basically the whole time.
So I mean, you were on paralysis duty, and I was doing.
Yeah, I did raw, pure raw explosions.
And yeah, I think I was using Insect Glaive for that one as well, for the 909. And then we had we had technical issues after that, so we weren't able to complete it with a full 4-party again. But
was Max using an ice hunting horn on that 909 run? Yeah, so we've been doing super optimal.
So if we all did ice weapons as well, or if we wanted to straight up ice bowgun. Or like
I was using my Arshan greatsword. I mean, like, we weren't leaving that much on the table. I mean, I think we did do it really well, but keep in mind too that like we're, I think we're all starting to realize that the real answer is just like heavy bowgun super cheesy. Yeah. I mean, people were being like Gravios, like literally like trying to get to hunter rank 999 by doing like 1.5 minute Gravios fights or something, right? So
I mean, I think there's something you said about what Max brought up, was that this is the type of kind of Monster Hunter quest where getting everything in preparation for the fight is just as important as actual fighting. And that's definitely where we come from when we come from the older Monster Hunter titles, which preparation was key and everyone had to get everything ready. That's why it was such a pain in the ass was when someone didn't ready up and we ring the bell to go and it's like, oh shit, I didn't ready up. Now we have to use the special voucher and stuff like that. Like we got to get back out there and restock everything and stuff like that. So yeah, like that is kind of like the old school kind of Monster Hunter like way is a lot of prep time. Like a lot of how you want to get your DPS up, it comes from like eating meals, if you want to bring things to make demon drugs, or bring a pitfall trap and then bring the ingredients to make more pitfall traps. That all the prep and stuff that comes from the old game, this is where it comes on display for the new hunters with their faster times. It's even especially solo. So I think that's it's really cool that we have that kind of feeling again. Like I know I haven't been able to get some time in recently after our hunts, but I definitely am looking forward to carving out some time to like solo this by myself, no support hunters, and just try to get it as fast as possible with my weapons, and then maybe try to like go for elemental weaknesses and stuff like that, just to see if I could do it by myself as well. But I think Max, you did it solo, and you said you got it pretty easily, right?
Yeah, I got like 1107 or something pretty easily.
I think we're
with the heavy bowgun.
Yes, I got the A rank with the hunting horn, and then I was like, how fast can I do it with bowgun?
Was that the night that we stayed up till like 2 just listening to music, and you're like, oh, I wasn't even paying attention, I just almost got the A rank?
I don't think it was. Oh, I think it was a couple nights before that.
Okay, but yeah, like and I think now I remember what Brian said. Like, yeah, this is the thing that kind of we touched upon before the game, before this title came out, is Monster Hunter Wilds like for casuals now, or is it for like the hardcore? Like, what is the selling point? And this is where we're seeing that divide. It's becoming ever more apparent with each new challenge quest or each tough like flagship monster that you hear it from both sides. Oh, that's too easy, or this is too hard. It's like from where we're sitting, it is, I think like this is, like Ryan said, like this is the content that I'm looking forward to. This is the content that I want, but is that
right.
suitable for?
It's hard, but it's what we're asking for. We want to get beat up.
like yeah, a couple weeks ago a couple episodes ago we were talking about kind of like the Monster Hunter fatigue, and I was like, okay, to alleviate that, I usually go ahead and use a different weapon to try to start like feel fresh and start from the beginning, stuff like that. But with this new challenge, me carding each time, like not even doing a clean hunt against like the Arch Tempered Rey Dau and getting hit and like getting hit like a truck and stuff like that, like this is exactly what I wanted. I want to feel like I'm hunting this thing for real. Like I want to feel like it's a challenge, and I want to feel like if I take the correct courses of action, take the correct prep time and stuff like that, that I can overcome like the hunt, and like be really good at it. Like like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what was the draw. That's still a draw to certain games to say the entire Soul series. People love being able to like overcome the adversity. And so
it's
like,
a funny analogy though, because I don't find myself into the Souls series at all, but something about Monster Hunter just
right.
it's very cathartic, very fun.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I think there is probably a huge overlap of like Monster Hunter players and Souls, you know, Dark Souls players. I'm just not one of them, which is I laugh at occasionally.
Yeah, and that's the only reason I beat Bloodborne, because I was like, oh, this is the closest one to Monster Hunter with the iframes. So I was like, oh, this is cool.
What's the new Elden Ring? Is it Night Rain or something? I feel like it's cooperative.
Vampire one.
Yeah,
that should be the one for you because it has.
Well, Night Rain is the
Oh, Vampire.
multiplayer one, right?
That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah,
Yeah,
not the Switch
The one-
game.
the Dusk Bloods is the Switch one,
Oh,
Dust-
Dustblood
not
is what I was
Dustbloods.
thinking of.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you meant.
which I'm
Yeah,
yeah.
I think in general, kind of to summarize what you're saying, Patrick, it's like, you know, or at least kind of what we've been saying is, you know, you're never gonna. This is a perfect example of like you're never gonna please everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, they've already been as successful as they could possibly be with this game. I think so. At this point,
Wait till G-Link drops.
Yeah, you know, if this is like the level of success, you know, like at the top of the show that they're achieving, like we were saying at the top of the show, but like we are going to be the people who keep coming back. People who are more casual Monster Hunter fans like might pick up the DLC like 2 years from now, but the people who are playing every day, and not every day, but
We're
like,
not even playing every
people who are
day,
doing
yeah.
the majority of the majority of the special event quests and stuff, you know, that's catered to us, and I'm glad, because you know, it's not that I'm, you know, selfish and don't want to share Monster Hunter people with, you know, people who don't
Yeah, we're not
like it as much as
gatekeeping.
we do, but you know, at a certain point, you know, you can't hold the game back from its core fandom. So not to be selfish, but you know, I think that's what they should continue to do. I think that's like the path forward, and then you know, when the DLC drops, then you can kind of be more balanced in your approach, because there's still plenty of content for people. Look, if you're having trouble with the Arch Tempered Rey Dau, like you probably haven't beat some of the other stuff, so you know.
I mean, in a certain sense, that's kind of a failure on the game to provide a proper difficulty curve to get people up to this point, because that's where the shock is, right? Where it's like, oh my god, all of a sudden it's so hard. Like in a perfect world, it would feel like sort of like a curve where it's kind of gradually gets difficult, and it's not like a switch gets flipped and it's like, oh my god, this is like Fatalis, Iceborne, like this is so much harder than everything else.
I could see. I understand your point, but I think that's how it's always kind of. I feel like that's how it's always kind of felt with Monster Hunter. Like for me, it was the bang my head against the wall against the Jan Garuga until it clicked. You know, like it was never. It was like, okay, I'm fighting like cool, like a little Bufangos and blah blah blah, and then here comes this purple fucking nightmare. And I'm like, I've literally sat on my couch for 12 hours now, and I cannot figure this shit out. 2-3 days later, I'm decked out in its entire fucking body and its ancestors, and I'm like, this is the fucking game. Like I get this now. And yeah, I mean, you know, everyone has different experiences and stuff like that, but I think it was Ryan that brought this up a long time ago in one of the first episodes. Was like, you know, like this. I mean, we all kind of did, but like the story and the stuff is like your training wheel section. This is your tutorial and stuff like that for Monster Hunter. And if you've never played it before, they did a great job for people who love the story. But yeah, like to Max's point also is like, well, maybe we shouldn't have held your hand too much because people are getting wrecked out here and like the streets are on fire.
I have a theory that I'd like to share that I think might explain.
And that's it for the Palibros. That's good. Go ahead, Ryan.
He's our trivia winner. Give him his time.
Yeah. I request my time back. Basically, I think what's happening is that Monster Hunter rewards two things: patience and persistence. And so if you're someone who's like just inherently enjoying the game, you're going to grind out these monsters because you either like have your own personal goal of collecting all the armor pieces, or you have your own personal goal of like, reaching X amount of science points. So you're kind of out in the wild and you might bump into some stuff. I mean, there's a pretty deep content cycle like that exists in the base game, even though we blew through it pretty quickly.
Yeah, trying to
But
see all the
game-
lines that Alma has.
Right. Yeah, mostly that one. And I just think that like I have a theory that people who are thinking that like Gormagala, like tempered Rey Dau, even tempered Arch Tempered Rey Dau, and even tempered Arkfeld sometimes can be a bastard. I think maybe these people aren't playing the game enough. Like it strikes me that like the reason Arch Tempered Rey Dau doesn't feel that like as tough but satisfying is his new moves are relentless, and or his attack style is relentless now, and his new moves are like just enough to like keep you on your toes. But like if you studied is makes it sound boring, but like if you've played the original Rey Dau 10, 12, 15 times, the additional attack patterns aren't like going to make or break your ability to fight him. So it makes me think that like the people who are saying that this game's too hard out of nowhere probably don't have enough of a base knowledge with the game, and it's a lot easier for us to ramp up because we've played so many of the games. So if you're coming in cold or you've only played Monster Hunter World, like you don't have as much to rely on. But we are like, our brains are picking up patterns that maybe other people's aren't, just from like lots of experience playing the game. But it also makes me think that like people who are saying like, oh, this game's too hard, are people who are not understanding the core parts of the game, or like the monsters, the base version versus the hard version. Like if you're having trouble with Arch Tempered Rey Dau, it's like you think it's unfair. How do you do with the regular Rey Dau? So I don't know. My theory is that like the game is rewards, like I said, persistence and patience. And if you don't have the patience to fight it a dozen times, then you're not going to enjoy the hard version of it.
It's also important to remember that the requirement to do the Arch Tempered Rey Dau is only like HR 50. And so there could be people that are like HR 51 that like just finished the story and haven't really fought that many like tempered monsters or whatever. Like, at this point we're coming in it from the perspective of people who like, we fought, all the Zoshias and tempered Mizutsunes and tempered Gormagala and all this scary stuff. So like we've sort of, I talked about like the difficulty ramp, like we've sort of already gone up the difficulty ramp, but there could be people coming in from any point. As long as they're HR 50, they could be using low rank gear for all we know.
That was me, but I have the experience to back it up. Going off of what Ryan said, I kind of want to add to that theory is I think it kind of a mix with what Max was saying earlier also, is that man, I really need to take my meds because I just be forgetting all this shit. So I think that not having enough experience and learning those patterns with the monster is built into the game, is actually built into the gameplay as well. But because so for example, you fight Rey Dau and then you get pieces for the Rey Dau armor, and you're like, okay, so I have to fight this monster multiple times to get the armor set, and then once I get the armor set, I can move on to the next thing, right? That's usually how Monster Hunter goes in general. But because it is so much easier to acquire everything nowadays in this game, like you could do like 1 or 2 hunts with the Rey Dau and get every single thing, especially like in like the later game stuff. So just in general, this game, this specific title, Monster Hunter Wilds, because it's so much easier to acquire all the things you need for it, you spend less time fighting that same monster, and you're in hindsight, you're missing out on building that muscle memory against that monster. So that's excellent. That's kind of what I'm thinking about it.
I would say the game encourages you to difficulty ramp yourself, and if you don't like the game a lot, it's hard to like have the patience to teach yourself all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's a lot more free form, so it's like it's up to you to ramp the difficulty up, and that can be frustrating for people for sure.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I think that's hugely part of why there's a big gap. Just like you said, people didn't need to actually learn a lot of the movesets and fight it. Hell, they could even been carried by a group or gone online and just had someone do the hunt for them once or twice because they were have struggling in the story.
Tim.
And then
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's like he's like shuddering right
No,
now.
he's
like, someone's
an
talking
old
about
school
me.
hunter.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of what I like about the deviant monsters from Generations. Is that it's like a very nicely provided ramp up in terms of difficulty. It's not like, binary, like here's normal Arkveld and then here's Arch Tempered Arkveld. It's like you have like your Silverwind Nargacuga. It's like there's like a Silverwind Nargacuga 1 quest, and then you get ticket 1s from that quest. And then every different subsequent level, there's like Silverwind Nargacuga 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, up to like 10 or whatever, and then there's the EX, and it's like everyone gets slightly harder, and you have to do all the levels like in order to make the gear, and the gear gets better as you get the higher level tickets.
Right.
And so it's like you have to learn the monster as you go, because by the time you get to the end, it's like one-shot city, has new moves, and it's like crazy hard.
That's freaking
But it's
awesome.
it's like a built-in way of like, by the time you get like the full gear, and like the older games like Generations like really encouraged mix sets, and like the deviant sets were like the way of encouraging you to have like a full set of armor. Like before there was transmog or armor customization, like by the time you got like the max level sets, like you could fight those monsters with your eyes closed because you had to like ramp up to get there. Like I really like that system.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think there's also something wrong with us because you were like, yeah, it's one-shot city. I'm like, that's awesome. So
It makes it feel so much more rewarding.
Exactly.
Like, once you learn it.
I don't know, Ryan. Are you sure you don't want to play Dark Souls games?
Yeah, dude. I'm questioning myself at this point. Yeah, I don't know.
Definitely. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of the Palibros. Before we go, what's everyone doing? What's everyone watching or playing or getting into nowadays, other than Monster Hunter, of course? Anyone watching anything, any new anime, playing anything new? What we got going on?
Working my way through Andor right now.
Andor.
Ooh, season 2 or season 1 or both?
Season 2.
Okay.
I need to start that.
I have no.
It's good so far.
Yeah, I have no affinity for Star Wars at all. I don't know what's happening. I think my favorite Star Wars thing has nothing to do with like the original trilogy at all. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. It's like one-off episode on the. It's kind of like the Animatrix kind of Star
that's
Wars.
kinda cool.
Do you remember? It like released like a couple of years ago. It's like an episode where he.
Legends or what the fuck? Is it called?
Legends. I think.
Is it?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
good.
it was like
Legends.
the first episode where he was like a samurai, but
That one is cool.
with
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Like
that's
Kurosawa.
fucking yeah, exactly. That was sick. Yeah.
What have I been watching? I started an anime called Yakitate Japan, and it's all about baking bread, and it's fabulous.
Is that the older
And,
one?
It's an older one, yeah, from the early 2000s. So it's all about baking really impressive bread, people trying it and having crazy taste reactions where they're like in their head.
So it's
having,
Food
like,
Wars.
It's like Food Wars, but with bread and much more
No.
tame.
Okay.
Less sexual.
Oh.
Made for
Wow.
family
You
audiences.
just go and throw that in there at the end.
Oh yeah. Some of
I
the
was gonna
sounds
say
they
I
make
forgot
in,
that I'm
Food
rewatching.
Wars.
Sorry.
Very good.
I was gonna say I forgot to mention I was rewatching Gurren Lagann. Speaking of early 2000s.
Damn, I haven't heard of that in so long.
A while.
Yeah.
And then I know a lot of us are watching The Last of Us.
Yeah, actually, I haven't
Spend
started
too much
watching it.
time
Surprisingly.
You haven't watched it yet?
'Cause if we talk
Okay.
about
Yeah,
it,
we can't talk.
No.
I think I might have spoiled
we can't talk about it.
Max earlier during our discussion on accident of Shenmue, of all things.
Look, I think there is a window. By the way, Max. Sorry to say, but you might be leaving that window very quickly.
No.
Let me install it really fast. I'll get there. Get through it.
I'm just saying,
You got
if
time,
you
you got time.
like Last of Us, you said you'd be spoiled on Last of Us Part 1, right? Like
I still have not been spoiled.
There you
that's
go.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The train left a long time ago. I'm not gonna spoil it for you.
That train's on the other side of the planet right now. Like
Yeah, I was gonna say that game came out when 2006 or something. 4.
when the PlayStation 3 came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't.
Ironically, it must be said, ironically, as like we were talking about this the other day, Max accidentally spoiled Red Dead Redemption 2 for me, which I hadn't finished yet.
Oh,
Which is
I was,
also kind of my fault.
amazed that you hadn't heard anything about the ending, given how
Yeah.
big of a game it was.
so good.
I thought it was kind of boring to run my own camp. I thought I was like I already work a job. Like I don't need to go home and then like have a second job at Arthur Morgan's like freaking corral, dude. His freaking circus.
You'd be a full-time fisherman in Red Dead.
But aren't you like a whole ass architect playing fucking Roller Coaster Tycoon or whatever?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how about you talk about that? You've been playing Roller Coaster Tycoon games.
Yeah, but that's like not
Planet
a real job that people normally have. Like, you know, I'm not trying to.
Nor is running a camp. Like a
you have
campsite.
you have no idea. All the Roller Coaster Tycoon Planet Coaster people listen to this show, and you just told them that they don't have a real job.
Yeah, they're not real people. They don't exist.
They don't exist.
Yeah.
What are you watching, Pat?
As of right now, yeah, there's Last of Us, but finished DMC.
Yeah, Netflix.
It's a good show. I have my gripes with it, specifically kind of how Dante acts in the show. He acts more kind of like Deadpool than he does Dante from the games, which is more of like a cocky cool and not like a himbo. So like other than that, like I think episode 6 is still like one of my favorite things I've ever seen in anything. Really fucking cool. Really cool that they made a new Evanescence song for that. So it's not a phase mom.
Excuse me, what now?
Yeah, they made a whole new Evanescence song. Like the whole anime is like
Damn,
based, it was
dude.
like super.
Bring me to freaking life.
Exactly.
Dude. Wake me up inside.
Fucking wake me up. I fucking can't wake up.
By the way, super quick sidebar. I found out the other day that apparently like they were really angry about that whole song. They literally brought in like a male vocalist for that song only, and they were like gonna sign a big record deal, and they were like, bro, that's not who we are, that's not our music. And then they like left the record meeting in like tears or something. And then
Sirens are on our end, by the way.
The label acquiesced and said like, okay, fine, we'll do only one song, and they're like, all right, done deal. And that's how that song came to be. Is like that guy isn't in the band. He's just on that one song, which I did not know.
That's crazy.
That's a cool story.
And that guy was Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that,
and this is my story.
I've just been playing games that there have been shows that are out right now that I'm not too happy with. So like I'm playing through Last of Us again, and then I'm playing Devil May Cry, and then you know,
Devil will make you cry.
if this fucking Amazon God of War thing comes out, I'll probably be playing God of War again. So that's just kind of, I'm playing kind of everything right now.
Do we think that's gonna make us cry? I don't know how I feel.
Dude,
about
Devil May
it
Cry 5
so
is the
far.
fucking shit. We need Devil May Cry 6.
God of War.
So good.
God of War.
Oh, God of War makes me cry all the time.
No, I'm just saying, like, if the adaptation is bad, it'll make us cry.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that too.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What about you, Max?
What about Max?
I have been playing a little bit of Marvel Rivals, and I've been playing a little bit more Monster Hunter actually recently. I've been messing around with. I have some little random wheel spinners that I made, because like my sort of long-term goal was like I want to make all the armor for sort of transmog, but when I boot up the game and I just look at the monster list and it's like, oh, what do I want to fight? I don't know. So I have some little wheel for like
Consult
pick a
the
monster
wheel.
that I pick a monster that I haven't made all the armor for, and then spin the other wheel for pick a weapon that I might be interested in using. And so it's just like,
Dude, that's
it keeps
awesome.
a little fresher.
A little wheel of death is what that is.
Yeah.
I mean, they're only weapons that I'm interested in using, but
Oh, okay.
it just kind of like mixes it up, so I'm not just like going for monster like, all right, time to fight a Dogron 7 times in a row with the same weapon. So it just kind of mixes it up. It's been kind of fun.
It's nice.
And there's a couple manhwa that I've been reading that are pretty good.
Nice. I don't know what that is, but I'm glad you're enjoying it.
The Korean webcomic.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, we should get on some Monster Hunter roguelike within the next couple episodes too, because I've been wanting to get back to that. But yeah, Brian, Max, and Ryan, or should I say Stinky number 1, Stinky number 2, and Ryan, the greatest of all time, the greatest to ever do it. I want to thank you guys again for coming out for another episode, and of course, fellow hunters, I want to thank you for coming out and enjoying this episode of the Palibros. Don't forget, if you will enjoy this episode and want to keep up with us, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button on YouTube, or you can follow us on Spotify or a variety of other podcast services. please go ahead and give us a good rating if you enjoyed the show. It'll help us out with the algorithm and our discoverability. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the show, and until next time, happy hunting.